It's now time for NRG This Week. NRG stands for Network Referral Group. To learn more about NRG, go to their website, nrg.online. It's now time for another episode of NRG This Week.
Hey everybody, Mike Weiner here for another episode of NRG This Week. Leon Thomas will not be with me. He's my partner usually here. We had an amazing extravaganza this past Friday, March 6th. Tawana Lowry, who has had a 19-time on her ROI, was our keynote speaker. We had corporate sponsors. It was amazing. So we'll have another one in September. I will let you know about that. I'm going to give you my contact information. Definitely get out to an NRG meeting. We are growing rapidly. You get 3 referrals. Once you join, you get 30. My cell number is 443-756-9656. My email address, mike@networkreferralgroup.com. Website is nrg.online. We have a brand new NRG University. We got a couple of things that I'm working on in conjunction with Lori. Some other things I'm working on you will hear about in the near future. So really excited. I've got a new member, been with me probably about a month and a half now. Donnie, I'm going to bring Donnie on. I always say Studio 54 to keep disco alive. That was in New York. So Donnie, it's great to have you out here. You're in California. I'm in Maryland. It's like 80 degrees here. Is your temperature warmer than us today?
It is. It finally actually feels like the LA weather. So it's been nice this past week. I was just telling you and Jay before we got on, it was rainy and cold the past couple of weeks. I'm like, where's this LA sunshine, man? And it's been here.
Well, it's great to have you out here. I'm glad you're a new member. You came in through a real good friend of mine, Brian Parnell. Take 2-3 minutes, Donnie. Talk a little bit about what you do, and then we're going to dig in. And I've got a question related to what you and I were talking about prior. But take 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Give us a quick overview on what you do.
Yeah. So the name of my company is Life Maximizer, and I really have kind of 2 segments to my business. On one side, I do leadership development, communication training, presentation skills training. And then on the other side, I do more consulting. And that one's really focused on marketing strategy, business growth strategy, event strategy, and sometimes depending on the organization and the project, I'll do event production. So when I look at my business as a whole, most of it is really focused around how are you maximizing your impact as a leader? How are you maximizing your influence as a leader? What does it mean to really stand out? And you can stand out within your organization, or your company can stand out within your industry. So we'll use that as a starting point to kind of dig into the conversation.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you. Before the show started, we were talking about this virtual resource fair. So it kind of caught my attention. I know you're preparing for that. Take 2 minutes let's give that a plug. But talk a little bit about what is the goal of that event.
Yeah, the resource fair, it kind of fell in my lap, interestingly enough. At one point, I was doing some work for small business owners where I was helping them understand what the DBE certification, or the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise certification, was. And so much of that process was helping them understand the terminology, helping them understand the process, kind of walking them through the process to get enrolled or to get certified. And some of that work went away. And I ended up getting connected with one of the regional centers here in Los Angeles that does work with individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities and their families. So I was attending one of these committee meetings, and as I was listening to them talk, a lot of it sounded familiar. There's a program called the Self-Determination Program here in California. And people are like, what is the Self-Determination Program? Families were talking about how complicated it is. Families were trying to figure out what kind of resources that they needed. And so I said, this feels very familiar. So the committee ended up putting out this proposal to have a resource fair for the families, where we would bring in vendors, we would do these different panels, we would bring in some of the individuals who opened their business through the self-determination program. And what I found is that I really enjoy bringing people together. And I'm pretty good at bringing people together and bringing people into the room, marketing them. And so what ended up happening is we put on this in-person event. I originally thought it was going to be like 200 people, maybe. We ended up having 470 people register. 300 of those people actually attended the event. And then we had 63 vendors who were interested, and ended up having 56 vendors show up that day. So it ended up being a really good event in terms of getting the right people in the room. Obviously, there are changes that we can continue to make and improve. But what I found is that after that, I started getting more messages saying, hey, can you help me do another event? And so I ended up winning another contract with the regional center to do.
Wow.
So this one is going to be virtual, and it'll be at the end of March.
So the one you just did was live, and now you're getting ready to do virtual?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, because I was thinking 470, because I have a Zoom that'll hold up to 500 people. So if you got a Zoom, it'll hold up to 500, but then you got to go to Facebook Messenger and things like that. So kind of interesting. That's pretty cool. I think you're going to find now you've done one, people are going to want you to do more. I used to do live events before COVID, before we went to Zoom. I had one event, it was 1,100 people and like 100 tray tables. It was huge.
Yeah.
Now it's the extravaganza, which you were on Friday. If you missed the extravaganza, you missed out. Donnie was there. We had a great time.
It was a really good.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Give us a client testimonial without mentioning their name. Some of the benefits that a client came back to you and they said, hey, you've increased my business, you've doubled my revenue, whatever it may be. Share with us a testimonial without giving away their name. And if you would share that, I think that would be great.
Yeah, I'll give you one from both sides of the business.
Okay.
So one that immediately comes to mind, I've actually been working with this client now for almost 3 years. She's an executive inside of an organization in California. And when she first sent me an email, it's funny because I'm now kind of having all these flashbacks. When she first sent me an email, it was, hey, here's what's happening within our organization. Here are the dynamics that are happening between me and my VP. There's a lot of tension between us, and I'm not sure whether or not I want to continue working at this company. So I said, okay. So we started talking, and when we first started our work together, most of it was around improving her communication, thinking more strategically. She had been moved into a new leadership role, so there was more complexity, there was more visibility, and she was also interacting with more of the C-suite. So what I told her is, well, you aren't ready to leave your organization yet because there's no job or anything kind of lined up. And you haven't stated like, hey, I have this potential opportunity. So how do we give you some tools and strategies that you can use to kind of help you stay grounded and steady while you're here? And at the same time, we can begin thinking about what your exit plan would be. So you aren't just leaving because you're frustrated, you're leaving kind of with strategy and intention. So she said, okay. So over the next couple of months, what we ended up seeing is it wasn't that she was miserable. It was that she wasn't actually doing the things that bring her joy and light her up. And so I told her, well, what are some things that you miss doing? And she said, I really miss playing pinball. And we started digging into that. I was like, oh, okay, tell me about pinball. She was like, yeah, I used to go to tournaments every now and then, but I haven't been to any in a while. So I said, all right, in addition to doing kind of the communication work and the leadership work, let's do some enjoyment work. So find a pinball tournament that you can go to and get back into it. And so she decided to do it, and she had a fantastic time. And that was really what kind of turned on this new light switch. And she said, I actually think I want to get competitive again. So fast forward to this past fall, which would have been 2 years that we were working together. She became the #1 pinball champion in the state of California.
Wow.
And was getting ready to consider taking on another job. And so I asked her, hey, if you take on this other job, will you be able to play pinball the way you want to? And she said no. And she said, I actually don't think I'm going to take it because I've gotten my hours down from 50 plus hours a week to almost 35 hours. And I'm doing the thing that I want to do. And my relationships with my VP and with my senior executives are a lot better. They're listening to me. I'm telling them no when I mean no, and I'm kind of negotiating with them. And it seems to be working. So that for me feels huge because yes, the work stuff is important, but I mean, the name of my company is Life Maximizer. I want to make sure that people are enjoying themselves outside of work too. And she's been doing that. So that's great.
It's funny, Donnie, because I love pinball machines. I love them. And then part of NRG, we have pinball, right?
Yep.
It's like a pinball machine with the referrals ricocheting off each other. So I'm going to ask you 2 more questions, then we're going to take a commercial break. The Life Maximizer. I love that name. What made you come up? My voice is cracking. What made you come up with that name?
It actually wasn't mine. It was given to me by one of my very first business mentors. At that time, I was working with cancer patients and their families and helping them navigate the ups and downs of a cancer diagnosis. And we had probably been working together 3 or so months. And as I was telling her what I was doing with the patients and their families, she said, you're a Life Maximizer, right? And I was like, huh, okay, I don't know. At that time, I was 25, 26. So my little marketing brain was like, it sounds cool, but I didn't think about it in that way. And so that was 12, 13 years ago, 14 years ago, when she originally kind of gave the name to me. And it's evolved over the course of time, especially these past 5 or 6 years. So typically what I find for myself is I come into people's lives or into people's businesses when they're about to go through some significant transition. And while it might be business or leadership related or work related, there is a life element that ends up bubbling up to the surface as I have more conversations with them, where we begin to really see, oh, I'm wanting to live a much more fulfilling life or a more whole life. And that ends up being kind of the gift that I get to witness when I'm working with people or when I'm going inside of organizations. Um, there's usually a lot of a lot of tension and frustration, and when we can bring in some of the lightness and the clarity, people end up working better together, and the organization kind of settles a little bit.
Clarity is a big thing. I've heard a lot of coaches talk about that. Business people are running and moving a million miles an hour, but they don't have the clarity. But yeah, your company name, I love the name. One last question, and then we're going to take a commercial break. What's this crazy organization called NRG? It's run by this guy, Mike Weiner, 26 years. Brian Parnell introduced you and me by three-way text. You came to Ellicott City, Maryland the next day. You joined. Share your NRG testimony. I know you've been with me short time, but talk about the family, the culture, your experience. A lot of people watching. Why would you want to come out and join the NRG family?
Yeah, it has been a really fascinating process. And one of the things that I tell the people that I've been getting connected with through NRG is that there was a probably two-year period of time where I wasn't doing any networking. I was going through a bunch of personal life changes, and so I was cocooning. And one of my intentions for 2026 was to begin networking more and just to re-engage with human beings again. So, as Mike mentioned, I ended up meeting Brian Parnell actually in another networking group, and then he invited me to this one. And so when I joined, there was the skeptical part of me because I hadn't been interacting with people like that, so I could feel the guardedness, and I was like, okay, what is this going to be? Is it going to be like your traditional networking groups or BNI groups or chamber groups or whatever? And it ended up being really warm and welcoming. And I think one of the other ladies that I joined with, she mentioned something like everyone addressed me by my name at the very beginning and welcomed me before they dove into whatever it was that their business was. And so that piece was really nice. As you mentioned, Mike, just in that initial meeting, I got three referrals to other business owners who might be good referral partners for my business. And so that was very helpful. And then when I said yes, when I got the 30 text messages, it was within 24 hours, I would say. I'm thinking, how am I going to connect with all of these people? Right. So then I started pinging them and getting on their schedule, and they were getting on my schedule. And the first 2 weeks, I probably went through 15 to 18 of those. And so it was just back to back to back meetings and going from no networking to then all of a sudden talking to 18 new people in addition to my other work. By the time Friday afternoon came around, I was exhausted. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I just wanted to go to sleep. And so what started off as a fire hose has now become like a normal running water speed. And so now I'm finishing up on getting to know the initial 30, and people have been giving me referrals just from those conversations. So I probably have another 20 to 25 potential referral partners. And I will say this. I think sometimes people hear the word referrals and they think, oh, this is my client, right? And it's not that. It really is, here's another person that I can build a relationship with and look at how does my business align with their business and figure out how do we build a relationship and then potential referrals from there. So I really appreciate that most of the people in the group have been really relationship oriented. because it's made getting to know them a lot more enjoyable versus you're getting on these 30 calls and then all of a sudden they're trying to pitch you or you're trying to pitch them. And I've been on those calls and none of those feel good, at least not for me.
That's a great description. I love that testimonial. So thank you for that, Don. I appreciate that. All right, we are going to take a commercial break. When we come back, we're going to continue with our amazing interview of Donnie. We will be right back after these commercial messages. Thank you.
At Rod's Car Repairs, we work on all cars, old cars, new cars, and your car. Car Repairs by Rod.io.
Baked by Brianna has been your Baltimore hometown bakery since 1969. Located in Roxton Plaza, Baked by Brianna. Visit bakedbybrianna.io.
From the creative team that brought you The Browning Project and Dead by Morning comes a new thriller that will change the way you look at white-collar crime forever. Falling from the Sky.
Water. It's everywhere. We drink it, we bathe with it, we cook with it. Coffee's made with water. Toilets won't flush without it. It's used for washing clothes, dishes, utensils, pots, pans, floors, and our teeth. Plants and crops need water, animals drink it, and fish need it too. And don't forget, we can have a lot of fun in the water. Water. What will we do without it?
I'm Leon Thomas with the Leon Thomas Group. Podcast, virtual events, webinars, streaming shows, and so much more. We want to be your partner in all things virtual.
Hey, we are back. Mike Weiner here for NRG This Week. I do want to mention Leon Thomas is very involved with racquetball with kids from 8 all the way up to, I think, 60. It's racquetballrevival.com is his website. So we are going to continue our interview with Donnie. So I'm going to bring Donnie back out, and we're going to continue. And Donnie, you did a great job of talking about power partners. So guess what? I'm going to ask you for our viewing audience. By the way, this is live. And we're recording it. It'll be on our YouTube channel. Who are some of your power partners?
Yeah, good power partners for me are tech companies, HR companies, or HR consultants, therapists for the leadership role. When it comes to the business side, I tend to work with a lot of holistic practitioners or artistic creative practitioners, so they can be real estate agents, they could be coaches, consultants, authors, people thinking about their platform and how they really want to grow their thought leadership.
What's a power partner that you don't have right now? If people are watching and it's your ideal power partner, what's one that you either don't have or not enough?
I would say it would be a HR specialist.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So if you're in HR out there, reach out to my member and my good friend Donnie. So that's awesome.
Yeah. Thanks.
Question for you. What have I not asked you that you'd like to take 2 or 3 minutes? It can be personal. It can be business. Probably not football. I know you're not into football. Take 2-3 minutes. Talk about maybe it's your business. Maybe it's something that you don't talk about, or a benefit of working with you? So I'm going to let you take 2 to 3 minutes. Good question, huh?
Yeah, this is a great question. One of the pieces that's kind of present for me right now is on the personal side, and it might tie back into my business, but I'll lead with the personal, and we can go from there. So my partner and I are in the process of becoming foster parents, right? And one of the beautiful things about it is like, okay, there are lots of kids out there who need some love and care and a safe home. And that piece for me has been really kind of gratifying. And it's been gratifying because I'm noticing that uh, it's bringing my Papa Bear energy online, right? So, so I feel the protective provider kind of light switch turning on more and more and more. And that piece for me is really a lot of fun. At the same time, what I'm noticing is now it's getting translated into the work that I do with my clients. So, specifically for my leadership clients, for instance, many of them are really thoughtful, kind human beings. But what ends up happening with thoughtful, kind human beings is that they end up placating and saying, "Oh, you know what? All right, I'll do it," or "Yes." And so there ends up being this kind of shrinking or acquiescing to everybody. And what I tell people is, now we actually need you to kind of fight a little bit, but you need to fight strategically and you need to fight thoughtfully, and you need to understand what the potential consequences could be if you do fight and what that looks like inside of an organization. And when you're going back and forth with leaders or colleagues, right? Because you don't want to burn your reputation or burn bridges. You don't want to ruin your reputation, and you certainly don't want to damage your career. And so there's this constant dance that you're having to find. And prior to any of my coaching work, I was a certified personal trainer, and one of the things my clients love doing was when I would bring out the punching gloves and the punching pads and let them just go at it. So I can see now how all of these different experiences are really coming into play with the leaders that I'm working with, and really helping them learn how to advocate for themselves or stand up for themselves, and watching myself feel like the proud protective father, as they're going inside these organizations and duking it out in meetings or in the boardroom with some of their colleagues and their leaders.
That's cool. What I love about you, you're calm, cool, collected, but you got a lot of conviction. And I'm sure you're going to be a great dad. And I think that whole story was amazing. You and I resonated from day one. You got such a great, kind heart, and a lot of people have it, and a lot don't. But I appreciate that you have it. So, it's been great having you on the show today for NRG this week. For those of you who have not been to an NRG meeting, reach out to me. Definitely come out, join the family. We have a lot of fun. I blow my voice out. I run 32 of these a week. I definitely blow my voice out. So for Donnie and Mike, we're going to sign off for NRG this week. We will see you next week. Thank you very much. Have a great week. Keep reaching for the stars. We'll see you next week. Thank you.